eye cell disease, also known as inclusion cell disease or mucolipidosis type 2, is an inherited lysosomal storage disorder caused when lysosomal enzymes are secreted extracellularly instead of being delivered to lysosomes. In this video, I'll give you my visual mnemonic to remember the key features of this disease so that you can remember them on test day. See these eye cells? Yep, we're here in the eye cell factory, where a sneaky team has decided to counterfeit the latest phone trend. They're careful about trademarks, though, and have named these phones the eye cell. These eye cells should remind you of eye cell disease or inclusion cell disease. Get it? Eye cell for eye cell disease. Easy, right? For context, this disease got its name after intracytoplasmic inclusions were found in the fibroblasts of patients. But looks like things aren't going so well in our eye cell factory. Let's dive into the factory to learn the key facts for eye cell disease. See that Mantis machine putting Fox tags onto these boxes? Yep, it's the newest sticker machine in the business. The Mantis shape of this machine should remind you of Manos, because Mantis sounds a lot like Manos, right? And the Fox stickers should remind you of phosphate, otherwise known as Foxfate. Putting this together, this Mantis applying Fox stickers should make you think of mannose 6-phosphate. So, what is mannose 6-phosphate anyways? Well, mannose 6-phosphate is an important shipping tag for proteins added in the Golgi apparatus by the enzyme N-acetylglucosamyl 1-phosphotransferase, or GNPTA. That's a really long name, but this name is not that important. What's more important to remember is that we're talking about a phosphotransferase enzyme, as in something that adds phosphate groups to things. GNPTA adds phosphate to mannose residues, producing mannose 6-phosphate. Sound familiar? Recall from Intro Bio how mannose 6-phosphate is a shipping tag used by the cell to direct proteins into the lysosomes. To strengthen this association, just take a look at where the eye cells are supposed to be headed. Wait, is that an icebox? Yep, take a closer look at that icebox. You see, cooling in this icebox is the last step of production for the eye cell. These counterfeits can run a little hot, you see, so we've got to cool them down so they don't explode. By the way, an icebox is our recurring symbol for the lysosome, also known as the isosome. Conveniently, this helps me remember that eye cell disease is a lysosomal disorder. You see, this Mantis machine is supposed to add the Fox tag, and then the finished product heads to the icebox. But as we know already, something's gone awry. Let's swivel back to our Mantis to understand exactly what went wrong. We all know he's supposed to be getting these boxes ready for the icebox by adding a Fox sticker. But instead, the Mantis has broken the assembly line, and now all this product is piling up outside. Come on, Mantis, you had one job. In eye cell disease, the Golgi apparatus fails to phosphorylate mannose residues on lysosomal enzymes, just like how this Mantis machine failed to add phosphate groups to our product. And as we previously discussed, this mannose 6-phosphate is like a shipping label. It tells the cell that the protein is for the lysosome. Without these proteins being marked with mannose 6-phosphate label, the proteins are instead secreted extracellularly. This causes problems in two ways. First, the extracellular secretion of lysosomal enzymes is destructive, since these enzymes include proteases and lipases that destroy and digest things. Second, the improper secretion of lysosomal enzymes means that the lysosomes themselves are impaired. This causes the accumulation of stuff that would normally be broken down in the lysosome. Let's take a closer look at the key clinical features of this disease. The first relevant clinical finding is increased lysosomal enzymes in the blood. This finding should be obvious because, well, the lysosomal enzymes are secreted outside the cell instead of being contained in the lysosomes. Even though this fact is extremely important, I thought it was so obvious that it didn't need a symbol. Got that? Let's move on. Next, check out that Mantis's hand. The Mantis was really trying his best. See its claw hand? It makes it hard for him to move, which is maybe why this accident happened in the first place. This claw hand helps me remember the finding of claw hand deformity in eye cell disease. Claw hand basically describes the finger of the hand being permanently bent, like a claw. Just remember this robot's claw, and you'll have the finding of claw hand down. Next, take a look at that robot's arm. Yeah, in typical robot fashion, this joint moves pretty stiffly, as this hinge doesn't allow for a lot of free movement. And just like this machine, patients with eye cell disease may present with joint stiffness. I'm sure you can imagine that having high serum levels of all these different lysosomal enzymes could make things a bit sticky. Oh man, things have really gotten jammed up. Even this conveyor belt is bent and twisted now. This twisted conveyor belt is here to help you remember that patients with eye cell disease may present with kyphoscoliosis, or abnormal curvature of the spine. Because that conveyor belt kind of looks like a spine, right? Alright, with all this racket, it looks like the head honcho has finally come out. Notice how angry the boss is. He looks pretty intimidating with that square jaw and all. This coarse, square jaw is our recurring symbol for coarse facies, a symptom of eye cell disease. I mean, wouldn't you be angry if you were the supervisor of this factory? But even with all of this anger, our boss didn't forget the safety protocol. Check out that pair of safety goggles he's sporting. What a responsible guy. I don't know about you guys, but I can never see clearly out of these. They're always getting clouded up, right? These cloudy goggles worn by the boss can only mean one thing. Yep, a clouded cornea. Clouded corneas are another sign of eye cell disease. Basically, substrates that should be degraded by the lysosome end up accumulating in the cornea, leading to clouding. Just remember these cloudy goggles and you'll be all set. All right, let's shift our gaze down and look at this box down here. Seems like one of the boxes has been broken into by our defective Mantis machine. But did you see how this broken box has these serrated edges, all white and sharp, a bit like teeth? And the pink packing foam is coming out of the box, which kind of reminds me of gums. Those are the fattest gums I've ever seen. And trust me, I've seen a lot of gums. You might even say that these gums are enlarged. The enlarged gum-like picture here should help you remember the finding of gingival hyperplasia. Gingival hyperplasia is a relatively unique finding among lysosomal storage diseases, so it is high yield to tie to eye cell disease. Just remember this gum-like broken box and you'll have this finding down. Finally, notice the danger sticker here on the side of the Mantis machine? Yep, keep your kids away. We don't want any kids here. This machinery is dangerous. This warning sticker telling children to keep away is here to remind you that eye cell disease is often fatal in childhood. Unfortunately, having dysfunctional lysosomes with lysosomal enzymes in the blood just isn't very good for you, and there's really no way to currently treat or cure the disease. Phew, and we're done with eye cell disease. That wasn't too hard, was it? Let's do a quick recap before the repair folks come in to fix our Mantis machine. Eye cell disease, also called inclusion cell disease, is an inherited lysosomal storage disorder in which the Golgi fails to phosphorylate mannose residues. The lack of mannose 6-phosphate means that lysosomal enzymes are secreted extracellularly instead of being delivered to lysosomes. This causes problems in two ways. First, lysosomal enzymes are found at high levels in the bloodstream, where they don't belong. Second, the function of lysosomes themselves is impaired, so things that usually get degraded in the lysosome build up inside cells. Clinical manifestations include claw hand deformity, joint stiffness, kyphoscoliosis, clouded cornea, coarse facies, and gingival hyperplasia. There is no current treatment for the disease beyond supportive care, and the disease is often fatal in childhood. All right, let's get our machine back to work, or at least try our best to do so. Thanks for watching.